Ajit, it's now time for satsang.
Thank you. Selena, you have a cat in the background. That's sort of the center of attention. From my point of view, spirituality is about finding, and as much as possible, living in your zero state, which is what you're like when you're asleep, for one thing. Or what you're like when you practice meditation. When you meditate, at least the way I teach it, you try to be as mindless as possible. Lena, Eddie, and Bill look like they're already there, or else they're dead. Becoming nothing. Getting rid of all grandiosity, that you are the center of existence. You have to realize how few people care about what your mind state is. Even spiritual people don't all realize it's all about how you experience yourself, your body, your mind, and silence, in a silent state. And in a sense, it's learning how to get rid of the mind that wants to speak. And when you can do that, and you get lost in your own senses, something radical happens. You feel big as a house, bigger. The mind is very small. When it's active, your attention is mostly in your head, to visualize or to hear. But when you learn how to remove your mind, things change radically. But it's really important to learn how to absent thinking. There's the hard way, which is to fight the thoughts, your thoughts, banish them, try to shunt them aside, or else relax into your own background. Which gets you away from being I-centered and making yourself body-centered. There is two gardeners outside making a lot of noise with their blower. And you have to suffer. Mark, right now, describe what's going on with you, your mind and your body.
My body is quite calm. I don't feel any obvious big tensions or anything. I'm feeling at ease. There is no problem. There is no boredom. I'm just calm and peaceful. And that's it. That's what I'm feeling right now.
What's going on with your mind?
Just listening to what you're saying and just resting.
Not commenting?
No. Nope. Not yet.
When you can fall into your own body, and that's how I describe the experience. It sort of feels like you're falling backwards into your body, maybe out of your head into your body. Now, a lot of people, when they start meditating and they encounter empty mind, sort of panic. They know they're supposed to be still. They feel out of sorts without having their mind engaged. And some of them struggle against being drawn into the mind. Others experience after a while that the mind has nothing to do with who they are, their own experience of yourself, themselves. And they can entertain an empty mind without thinking and without making a big deal about it. The good thing about it is that state allows you to rest for from all the trouble your mind is trying to create for you. The mind likes to be busy, and it likes you to be busy with it. And it competes with your inner experience to be the focus and center of attention, which determines what you see, hear, and how you exist. You're not your mind. Your mind is a conversational piece which likes to talk. And it likes to have you as an audience. And it knows what to say, what to think, in order to attract your attention. But in a larger way, your mind itself is the biggest hindrance to experience total opening, wholeness, receptivity. The mind is going. Your attention is in the head, in your head, and the fantasies in your head. While I'm speaking to you, our enormous white cat was in her box, shitting. Maybe she was shitting as a commentary on what I'm saying, or that you guys were here listening to it. Cassie, how is Ian doing?
He's still very, very tired. He sleeps most of the time. But
He said, what?
He's very, very tired. He sleeps most of the time. But he has some really good days. But yesterday he went funny. He's going to a new hospital. It's supposed to be good for rehabilitation. So today we're going up to a new hospital. I'm happy about that because it's got a good reputation for the ability to get people back to at least close to where they were before they had the injury. So it's good. It's good.
How's he feeling emotionally?
Oh, he's very up and down. Like the last couple of days, he's been a lot more agitated. But he has so many full on dreams. So he sees things. Like one of the things that keeps recurring is this idea that he's being taken by a cult. And I understand the reason because in this life we both had this experience with a cult that was very, very injuring for him. He almost died from it. So that's still sitting there, and it's coming up. And he thinks that sometimes the hospital staff and even I are part of the cult. So, but it comes and it goes. It comes and goes, and then he seems to be able to understand that it's just a mind thing. Yeah. He's had a lot going on. He's been in Russia and he's been in Israel, and he goes all sorts of places.
Oh, gardeners. Oh, shit. They want something from me. Hold on. I'm on a long distance call. Tapping in? Yeah. I don't have a check for you now. Later. Later. 2 hours maybe. For the later on this afternoon. All right. Well, what I tried everything to avoid was that kind of interruption, but apparently they didn't understand what I was telling them. So they'll be coming back for their checks. Chris, how are you feeling?
In the moment, I feel quite contracted. I feel, and like you were saying, I feel like I'm in my head. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's like I feel like I'm spiraling down. And what I mean by that is, I hear what you're saying about lose your mind and what and all that, but I have my mind. I'm thinking, oh no, not again. I feel my mind. My mind's chattering. And then it makes me feel bad that I'm doing it, and I don't want to do it. But then
You're doing what?
Thinking.
Oh.
And I'm back to not liking it. Trying not to do it and not being relaxed and not watching it. So I'm fighting it and resisting it, and it's very unpleasant.
That's wonderful. I'm glad you're benefiting from these teachings. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, at the moment, I'm feeling very good. But earlier, my mind was very busy, so I was right there with you, Chris. But, yeah, I have a lot of energy in my heart right now, and it's like a magnetic pull into the heart, but simultaneously, like energy coming out of the heart as well. But I'm feeling good.
Eddie, what about you?
Yeah, just trying to feel into my body. I can feel like my hands, and then I drop down to like my abdomen, and that felt good when you're out of the mind.
Mark, what about you?
Feeling similar to before, but a little bit deeper. Things are starting to look and feel like I'm about to go to a higher dimension, but it's just a little bit. I know what that is. I'm not there, but it's just like a hint of it.
So we've got an inch higher dimension for you.
incrementally a little bit deeper than before. Similar though.
Cassie, how are you?
Oh, totally changeable, but at the moment, a bit. I'm going quiet, and then I get preoccupied with what I'm supposed to be doing, and so. But last night I just had this strong understanding that to believe my mind, to believe the thing that what I think is truth is just absolutely absurd, and it was really good. I really, really, really felt that understanding. Don't listen to your mind. It's crazy. So it's good.
Mind is like a servant who over 30 or 40 years thinks of itself as who you are. And then when you check in, he sees your thinking, and he doesn't know what to do with himself anymore, what to make of it. I guess the mind is needed for many aspects of everyday life, but it doesn't have to become so intrusive that we think it is everything. Part of the things that happen to you when you stop thinking that much is you begin to see thoughts as intruders on your peace and your emptiness, and your nothingness. So you focus on what you can experience with a non-thinking mind. And the feeling really is of being like a lake, but with rivers. That's the other way around. They don't evacuate water from the lake, they add water to the lake. So my analogy sucks.
I can do that.
Just be still. No thoughts. You'll find it increasingly easy to just relax. Surrender to your body. Be glad the mind is not controlling you at this moment. You have to realize that the world we live in is basically a construction of our minds. The reality factor comes in whether we think what we're experiencing is value somehow to our existence. But what meditation allows is you to experience yourself in the world without the addition of thousands of definitions and understandings we have of the environment. It allows us to be free of them, be free of everything for a moment. And in a sense, if we surrender to that non-knowing and just let it take over us, or we grasp hold of it and pull and bring it more into us, brings a sense of peace, which only grows stronger as time passes and we practice meditation over time. But nothing magical is going to happen because of meditation. The first few years practicing meditation, I thought it was pointing out a new reality. But that new reality is nothing but an old book that's been playing for thousands of years and is updated daily. You can fill in things you've thought in the past or people around you think. Maybe you're in a meditation center where it's kind of normal to have people not thinking and yet able to function. You find out you're able to function with almost no thoughts, except the initial ones that triggered your activity. Then you begin to understand that your mind is a wonderful thing to waste. It's good for nothing for a spiritual person. What they want is a sense of openness and freedom. Freedom from the mind, freedom from all the tasks that we do, freedom from the group, freedom from your spouse, kids, just so you can experience a moment of emptiness without thoughts rushing in to fill that emptiness, which they originally tried to do when you first try to control the mind. When you try to make the mind be still, thoughts pester you because you're not used to having an empty mind. And on top of that, you're curious. Your mind is curious and it wants to investigate what this meditative state is like. So it talks to you about what it's like. And now you can write that down into a book or an essay and become a spiritual teacher. But I think the main thing that becoming thoughtless gives you is a sense of peace, because you're no longer focused in your head and thinking, but into your body and feeling. And that seems very grounding and not abstract at all. And when you're in this state, you ignore the promptings of mind. that wants you to understand the state you're in and describe it for others as a goal for them to obtain. They may ask you, somebody, what's the good of being mindless? The difference is freedom. When your mind can't grab a hold of your attention and get you to focus on what it wants you to focus on, and instead, this concentrates on the entirety of you. Fall back into yourself. Feel yourself from the inside. And that varies from time to time. Sometimes you can feel inside of you what appears to be thoughts. And on further investigation, you find it's a feeling, an emotion. But repeated practicing of the opening up process of meditation eventually leads you to rest and peace. And you sit and think of nothing. Just have your mind collapse into your body. That's what it feels like. At first, the thinking feels like it's outside of you. But when you focus on yourself, at times it feels like the thinking is inside you. So you can't really trust any judgments that come up, because you may have a different judgment in 15 minutes or half an hour or a week. So have no judgments. Don't know. As Sun Tzu used to say, only don't know. And whenever he thought of something clever to say, he would bash you with his words to say, be fucking quiet. Rest in yourself. Forget the mind. The mind is a tool that's trying to usurp your human status from you and make you a cog in the web of thoughts. When you're in the mind, reality is in thinking. When you're not in the mind, reality is more in your body and your sense of being. And your own sense of being becomes increasingly expanded. And your beingness fills everything you see and hear, as well as your body. So you may say, so what? What does this teach me? It's not about learning. It's about changing your identity. So that you're an entirely passive soul resting in your own body. When you're in the mindless state, yet fully conscious, sort of resting in yourself and your body, you can feel such a profound sense of peace, and surrender, that you find that there's something beyond the mind entirely, and that's you. You're the one that watches your mind. Your mind is like a spokesperson, but for itself, not for you. The mind recognizes itself as the true identity, and you have to disabuse it of that understanding by searching your self-experience. When you're sitting in meditation and the thoughts go away, now you're immersed in your body, in the experiences of your body, and also your experiences of the world at the same time. Staying by yourself, in yourself, allows you to see and feel and experience everything differently from the way you did before you started investigating yourself in the mind and the purview of the mind rather than of yourself. When you can sit without thinking, there's kind of a rush, very pleasant rush, when you experience yourself without the mind. throw away your mind. Watch your mind. And watch yourself watching the mind. Doing those three things will allow you to escape the mind and to rest in yourself. This is a great exercise for students and academics who tend to be way too mental. You go to a place where there's no mental tension. There's a lack of that feeling that you don't know. Instead, you feel happy not knowing. And when you practice this long enough, you could be in a train station or a bus station or a library or a lecture. And not at all understand anything that's going on around you because the mind isn't working anymore. The mind has stopped thinking and has become an observer. What's so good about being dumb as a rock? It's freedom. Freedom from your mind and the mind of the world. All of those minds together in a huge grid. A grid of minds, which is the totality of the experience of man and animals. But our minds are no longer busy thinking about what we're observing or feeling. That curiosity level is much suppressed because of the intensity and the happiness of being able to discuss your mind and your body and your beingness. Right now, my mind is barely functioning. And instead, I'm witnessing my body from the inside. And I even have a visual ghost, which I guess is my usual way of viewing myself. but we're also ghosts that are tortured by our minds. Some of us have had in the past jobs in a life situation that required almost constant intellectual attention to. Ignoring the fact that in silence, one experiences a great happiness, and that the body opens up. It's how we feel it. It opens up. It's no longer locked down, but it's relaxing, allowing our thoughts and actions to filter through. Lorena, as a relatively new person, what questions do you have, if any?
Hello. Not really any, I guess. There is one.
There's what?
I twitch a lot. I'm sorry?
I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, my question.
No, I'm totally not hearing you.
Is it better?
Yes, much.
Okay, sorry about that. My question is, why is my body twitching? Or I guess it was about 20 minutes ago. Why does it do that?
But it's not twitching now?
No.
Well, you solved your own problem.
I guess so.
Just by doing nothing, one of your problems disappeared. Now you can ask yourself, who am I? Or who's thinking? And then you get all screwed up because you don't know what framework this calls for. Whether you're talking about you in the present or some abstract thinking about who and what you are as a human being. But spirituality is part of it is a progressive distrust for what the mind tells you. You just don't believe it. So then it doesn't affect you as much. It might as well be telling you blah, 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 blah. But you no longer have the concept. There's something special in silence other than the silence itself. There's nothing to be gained by silence, except perhaps a little peace. But there's no special understanding gained. You find out it's like having a special room to go to meditate in peacefulness. And just entering that room makes you feel very relaxed and easy to conform to the instruction of just be and don't speak about it. Now you become a good-for-nothing man, like Robert, like me. Good for nothing. You have nothing to do and nowhere to go. And you run away from circumstances that would make you focus on the world. You say to yourself, none of that anymore. I'm going to immerse myself in my beingness and get a feeling of what pure beingness is like, being in the body and being in a mind, and seeing what place emptiness has in this environment. There's nothing profound to be learned through meditation. It's just learning how to rest in yourself. This is one way to become really acquainted with your mind. It's to not use it, but to watch it. And when you can watch it, you've slipped away from the victim role of having to live the way your mind tells you and what it says. You're living in a world of billions of concepts. And each of us sort of learns a new concept every year and then forgets a concept or two every year. But they're always there somewhere inside of you. And what you want to do is get free from that. To learn how to rest in your zero state. The zero state is one of thoughtless, gentle existence. And you see, most of our days pass in seeking stimulation, not emptiness. At first, when we practice meditation, we can become very frightened of losing one's mind. And it feels like it's happening to you sometimes. as the thoughts in your mind slip away into nothingness until you find the center again, and it's back inside of you broadcasting. And we go through life with this broadcasting mind that's both creating and responding to the external environment in appropriate or inappropriate ways. What the spiritual teacher is saying, what is important is you, not the external world. Don't think about the external world. Just drop your attention fully into your experience of self, into your experience of your body, and of your own magnificent sense of presence, which is so palpable. It is really the ground of your existence. It's always there. When you're quiet, you can feel it in you and around you everywhere. And you feel connected to everything through your sense of presence. Your sense of presence intermingles with all of your experiences. But to have no experience and just sink into yourself, there's not much you can say about it. Or you can say a lot of things about it, but when you're saying things about it, you're not in it. It's like learning to go to sleep, but at the same time staying awake. That's how you let go of the mind. You let it stop. And that's what you do, is you let it stop. You don't force it to stop. You just relax and let it talk itself out. And you're left alone in this vast emptiness, which is so soothing. Really, it's like flying in a jet at 50,000 feet above all other traffic. And you're alone there in your splendor, in your height. We really get reacquainted with our body in this way, because we experience ourselves differently than when we have our mind going. When we have our mind stopped, the experience of your body, our bodies, can bring a great deal of peace as our body relaxes and stretches. So I guess there's nothing really to learn through meditation, but there's a learning to let go and finding peace in letting go. On the other hand, having obtained mastery of your thinking mind, it allows us to live in the world with our mind, knowing that deep down, underneath the mind, is who we really are, what we really are. And we can rest in it and yet talk like a person engaged in the world. Adam disappeared entirely. He took me at my words. Jay, what say you?
I'm content just to be.
I can't articulate it. It's too exquisite. I just want to be left alone. I love you.
I love you too. Just sit there, all of you, and be in yourself. Just relax. 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 Let your attention spread throughout your body, your legs, your feet, your buttocks, your chest, your shoulders. And come to rest. You also begin to see how mechanical the mind is. The mind has no originality. It's confused when you direct the mind to learn about yourself. Just continue sitting in silence, immersed in yourself. Until you've had enough to fill you. And then can begin your movements again automatically. You learn not to fight anything going on inside of you, but to relax and let it happen. But by relaxing and letting happen, it's not happening to you. Matter of fact, you can search and search and search for where you are. And you'll never reach a conclusion about who and what you are. If you do, you're just taking the cheap way out and grabbing onto some concept and saying that's what you are. Therefore, giving you space to let it go. But if you can really go deep and find out you have no idea who or what you are. But about this time, Robert would be saying, you are Brahma. You are Vishnu. You are God incarnate. Trying to fill in the other end of what you are with kind of aspirational images of something greater than you think you are now. But after after a while, you realize these are just mental fantasies, and they don't touch you either. Soon, nothing can touch you. Then we hear the stories about the ancient Zen saints that did nothing. Just the sustenance needed for everyday life. Eat, sleep, fuck, relax, fuck again, relax. And when you're tired of fucking, you can drop into yourself, not itching for what the sex gives you, or what fulfillment of any desire gives you. Instead, you see the whole thing as a dream, not worthy of attention. And you learn you can dismiss what has been your reality of being a person in the world. Instead, being a person who doesn't know that he's a person anymore, and certainly has no idea where he's going or what he's doing. You become empty of support. There's no longer anything needed to support you. No concepts, no groups, no teachers, nothing. Are there any questions? I dare you to have a question after that talk. Cassie, can you tell Ian that we're all with him?
I will. Thank you, Ed. Yes, I know. Beautiful.
Vesselina even gives a heart.
Thank you, Vesselina.
Okay, I'm going to go now. And you can stay sitting if you want. Or maybe you can start talking and ruin the peace you've got. Take care. I love you all. See you Sunday. Maybe. Bye-bye.